In this video, I'll be showing you Details Viewer. This one screen can show you almost every input and output on your controller. The only exception to that is the few controls and sensors that are attached to the RSMD and RSMV, and those are shown in the Refrigeration Module button at the bottom of this screen. As a reminder, in the top left corner, you're able to see with occupied or unoccupied mode the unit is in, and you're able to also see the HVAC mode. As a refresher, in occupied mode, the pressure dampers are open, the supply fan mode is on, and the set points are typically tight. In unoccupied mode, pressure dampers are usually closed. Your supply fan only comes on if the nighttime setbacks require it, and the space is generally less comfortable than in the occupied hours. As in the previous screen, anytime you see a 0 value in your sensor, that's because you either don't have a sensor installed or nothing is configured yet, such as down here, zeros down here as well, and a whole bunch of zeros all over here. On the screen, the sensors and outputs are separated into logical groups such as outside air, supply air control, and the list goes on and on. For the most part, the sensor readings are self-explanatory. Simply ensure that any sensors you have are configured and they will properly show up here, such as these here. I will show you in a later video how to configure sensors, control boards, and anything else in the unit, but for right now we're just looking at this screen. You will note over here in the mod gas, reheat, and preheater, the 3 red digits. Those are the software versions on the boards. Later on, I'll be turning on the mod gas in this unit, and you'll be able to see that it's version 4.10. From this screen, you're also able to force on relays and adjust analog output values temporarily. So from here, I can force on this heating stage, or I can force it into off so it cannot possibly turn on. And I can also just put it back to auto. Same thing goes for the economizer. So instead of a percentage, I give it a voltage. Just remember that economizers are a 2 to 10 volt actuator. So if you're giving it 2 volts, it's essentially closed. If you're giving it 10 volts, it is open. And then if you want, you can just cancel the override itself. The same thing can be done for your duct static pressure, which is your supply fan, and also your building static pressure, which is your exhaust fan. So down here. The last part of this video, I'll show you the refrigeration module section. I currently have a refrigeration module, but I don't have any compressors or actual piping and compressor sensors attached to it, such as head pressure or coil temperature probes or anything like that. So if I did, you'd be able to see pressures, temperatures, things like that on here. It's also handy to note that let's say you have 2 or 4 compressors in your unit. The A1s, B1s, and so forth are always your digital scrolls. If you have your modulating digital scroll as a first stage, then that would be your digital scroll, and then your A2, B2, and whatnot would be your on and off. So let's say, for instance, I have a pressure reading of 175 psi or something like that on my suction and head pressure. That would show that it's a standing pressure and the compressor is not in use. But then let's say I showed 0 or pretty close to 0 on my A2 compressor. That would show that I likely have a leak. It's either a bad pressure sensor or I have a leak and I've lost all my refrigerant charge. So just keep that in the back of your mind that is a pretty good and easy way of identifying, at least basically, if you have a refrigeration leak or not. So this video is relatively important. There's a lot of detail on this screen to kind of absorb. I would suggest that you perhaps take one more look at the video before moving on to the next one, because everything you can learn from this one screen will help you to troubleshoot and tweak and tune your system at a later date. Thank you very much. Have a great day.